Right, Shalom.
Shalom.
We'll start off as always by giving all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem,
Yahushai,
Ba'Hashem,
Ba'Hashem, Rakakadash.
double honors to the apostles of GMS,
Double honors.
and honestly, brothers, doing the work and truth while sincerity. We just back again. Just got a real quick one. Brother, let's go into how Israel, the Israel being gathered from all corners of the earth, man. You wanna say a couple words?
Can't know. Yeah, you probably open up.
Matthew 24.
Can't.
Yes, Matthew 24:14 says, "And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come."
Can't. And over here at Great Millstone, starting with our apostles and elders, through the spirit and power of Yahushai, we've been pushing this word out, okay? And we don't go flying over to other countries to try and make, it's scriptures talk about going over the compass in land and sea for one proselyte, which means a newcomer to the faith. We ain't going over, booking tickets, plane tickets and or boats and going on this. We ain't in that time. We're not going and doing that just to try and convert, man. Well, we push the word out there, and then the internet does the heavy work, And the Lord basically had the internet, the idea of the internet be planted into man's mind to basically be created for the purpose of what? To push this truth. And I believe it was one of the Rockefellers or Rothschilds that said that the invention of the internet was the worst thing that could have happened, and they can't reverse that shit no more.
Because even then, the internet's one of the things where they've been that they've used to infect the minds of the people, right? So on the one hand, the internet's being used for the destruction of people's minds, right? Your Twitter, your Facebook, your Instagrams and all of that. That is being used for the most part to destroy the minds of the people. If Esau has an agenda he wants to push, he used those mediums. Not saying those mediums are wicked, right? I personally use Twitter a lot because you can, for instance, I can get my, you can follow all the different news sources and you can follow your alternative news sources. So you go on one place and you have all the things that all of the information that you need in one place. Also got some other stuff on there, but it's a one-stop shop. But for the most part, it's used by the elites to basically control the masses. They said on Facebook they performed an experiment where basically they showed people like depressing stuff, and then that affected the moods of the people. And through those mediums, these devils can which could detect when they're going to have quote unquote social unrest. Right, because people speak a certain way, then they've got all the algorithms in the background basically crunching that data and being like, yo, okay. But on the other hand, right, you've got the YouTube, which Apostle Tahar said, he was like, look, man, the YouTube wasn't designed for no cat videos, man. The YouTube was designed, ultimately for this truth to be pushed out. So on the one hand, the elites love the internet, but on the other hand, the elites hate the internet.
Can't. And the blessing of Esau, because these elites are the elites of the nation of Edom, which is Esau, right? Their forefathers Esau. And the thing about Esau is his blessing is the blessing of the sword. And we were looking up the history of the internet. The first kind of node to node started with DARPA.
Yeah, DARPA,
right? And I'm just going to read quickly what it says about DARPA when you do a quick Google search. It says government agency. The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency is an agency of the United States Department of Defense responsible for the development of emerging technologies for use by the military, right? Founded in 1958. So these guys are basically doing that for war, for the sword.
Yeah.
That's how they were doing it, because that's the blessing of Esau, right? But then at the same time, it's like anything that's ever emerged in that sense is really come for that.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the thing I used to always think about is like communication, right? Like, for example, you had like telecoms, between different army officers.
Yeah.
And then you had it in the movies, like Star Trek, they'd be, beam me up, Scotty, they had a little, talking and all that. And now all of a sudden, everyone's got mobile phones.
Yeah.
So that thing really begins with Esau doing his technology but the inspiration comes from Yahweh.
Yeah. Where so when you're looking into it, the thing with the DARPANET was you had a network. Imagine a network, right? And what we were saying was like you have different, endpoints. So you imagine like a telephone exchange, right? And then you've got you've got people speaking to this, and it's basically going like that. However, what they were saying is, shit, what happens if this middle exchange gets blown? you now can't get messages from A to C because B's been destroyed.
Okay.
Right, so what they needed to do was basically create a way to, get messages from A to C even if B was destroyed. And thus you had the network, and if I'm not mistaken, the year they said was 1966.
Round about that, yeah.
Round about that time, and we all know that whole area of 1970, a lot of things happened. In terms of the destruction of this society. Because when you read, was it Obadiah, the first chapter? In fact, let me grab that real quick. The third verse. Right, this is Obadiah 1. Right, it says, is it 1 and 3? Yeah, 1 and 4. It says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down. Right, saith the Lord. And that started happening around 1970, 1969, went with the Apollo mission where they went up to the heavens.
1969 it was up.
1969, can't. Right, the word up. Right, 1969 they went up the Apollo mission to the heavens. Right, started trying to set their nests among there. Right, and then after that, right, then you had a whole load of things start happening that came about the destruction. And that's, that's also in reference to Revelation, 11 and 8 and 9, I believe, where it basically says their bodies, their dead bodies were in that city, that great city, 3 days and a half, representing 350 years, starting from 1620 to 1970. All of these things happening around that 1970 period, man.
That's right, man.
July 20th, 1969.
You want it?
What was I reading? 1924. Yeah, I was it on that.
Okay. So this is we're basically bringing this out because we're trying to say that, first of all, the internet is in the scriptures. That's prophecy. Okay, it had to happen. Why? So that this word can be pushed around the whole earth, so that the elect that are scattered around the whole earth can be gathered. And we can get that in Isaiah the 11th chapter.
Yeah.
You know.
You want Isaiah 11:11?
Yeah, I'll just get it before you get that. I'll quickly get this and then we'll get that. Okay, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 6 verse 20. And when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. The books shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see altogether. You know. So what's the book? That's talking about the scriptures, the understanding of the scriptures specifically as well. Okay. And it said, what did it say? It said that they'll be opened before the firmament, and they shall see altogether. So everyone's going to see. Everyone's going to be able to see this, and the elect are going to be sealed off of it, man. Okay, open before the firmament. The firmament we're talking about up there in the heavens, man. Okay, you got the satellites. Okay, you got the different technology. You got the different wavelengths and all that. All the different technology that goes into telecommunications, man. Okay, basically, because what we're going into is the whole purpose of this. What it's going into, other than pushing the word out, is the Internet of Things. Everything being connected digitally.
Yeah.
Right.
Everything being tracked and monitored, man.
And I was going to say that because you know why? Because anything digital will leave a footprint.
Yeah. So
then that can be tracked, measured, and monitored.
Yeah.
Right. Now the Most High has his spiritual database. You know, he because the scriptures say that he numbers the hairs on our heads.
Yeah.
So the Most High has his spiritual database. So the technology that he's given to the so-called white man, Esau, he gets proud. He thinks that he can become like the Most High. He thinks that by pushing out the mark of the beast, technology, right, that eventually he can basically control what he calls the goyim, the cattle, the people, man, the masses. Okay? So he wants to be like the Most High, and I believe you're getting that scripture, right? I thought he was getting it, so like it.
The thing is, I was getting one that was there, that, it goes into that.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me grab it, right. I'm going to start from the top then. It says, Ezekiel the 28th chapter says, the word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Lord power. And that nowadays representing Esau. It says, because thine heart is lifted up, and now I said, I am a God, I sit in the seat. So you got to break that down. It says, because thine heart is lifted up, right? And the base prove the point that I made before for how this verse is talking about Esau nowadays, right? Is who's more proud than Esau, right? Esau has today made himself a god, right? Esau will say, "Hey, no one can bring me down. No, nothing can bring down the U.S. military, this, that, and the other," right? Just the thought of the American military being destroyed isn't in this man's heart, right? And he's proud because he just goes around doing whatever he wants. He sees the scriptures of the Lord and he just goes against it. Does the complete opposite, right? He says, because thine heart is lifted up and thou hast said, I am a God. I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seas, right? So basically, he's basically saying, well, I'm a God. Which is why, he said, he read the scripture. The scripture said, male and female created he them. And he thought, fuck it. That's not how I want. Now people can be non-binary. Now people can be cisgender. Now people can be, I think they said they sound like 20-something genders, man. Right? Now a man can become a woman. Now it's no longer a man and woman required to make a child. Now it can be a man and a woman. Right? All of this wickedness that he's brought up in the world. Right? It says, yet thou art a man and not God. Though thou set thine heart as the heart of God, because you're proud. He basically thinks he's a God, man. But he is no God. Right? And in verse 3, this is the point I wanted to get. It says, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. Now, hey, look, man. Hey, the understanding of the internet, this, that, and the other. Right? Hey, Daniel didn't have that understanding. Right? But Esau does. Right? And also wanted to get in Daniel's, I believe, the 12th chapter as well. When it speaks about Daniel 12 and 4 says, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Right? You see knowledge being increased, man. Right? You've had so much technological advancements in the last. I mean, hey, look back 10 years ago, 15 years ago. What would you call it? A phone was that big. It was that big, and you couldn't do anything. You could call people, right? Then you had the color screens. Then what? In 2006, you had, I think that's when you started getting like PDAs, right? Color PDAs, and 2007, 8, you started having like touchscreen PDAs and all of that, right? Then what? Then the iPhone. How old's the iPhone? Then the iPhone was 2008, right? That was a major advance from 2002. Right, you had what? Black and white telephones, or even telephones. What, the Nokia 3210, I believe, was like 2002. And in 2008, you had a touchscreen phone. Right, and then now, 10 years later, you've got phones that are practically computers. This phone, for instance, I can buy a dock and it's a computer. Literally a computer. Right? It's got full Word on there, full Excel, full all of that, if I wanted to use it. Right, so knowledge has been increased, right, and this is civilian technology. So now think about military technology, right? DARPANET, we said 1966. When was the internet really?
DARPA was 1958. No, 1959 is when they really started doing the nodes.
Right.
Yeah, and 1966 is what you're talking about with the. I crossed my mind. Yeah,
you lost my mind, but that was that period of time, 1960s, right? And then what? Civilians didn't start having the internet into their homes until what? 2000, early 2000, or maybe just before?
I say, well, you had dial-up.
Dial-up, yeah.
Really, like in the probably, early 2000s, really, yeah.
Right, and then you've gone from that to now everything's online. You got banks that are exclusively online. You got the Monzo Bank, for instance, all app-based. Everything is app-based. Now you've got companies that don't need apps that have apps.
It's true. Do you want that?
Hey, now your baby monitor is connected to the internet. British Gas have a thing, you basically energy provider here in England, where you got smart meters, right? Everything is there connected to the net, right? All measuring everything that you do, right? Knowledge has been increased.
Yeah, and that's what the so-called white man wants, man. That's what he at least wants, because they want to be like the Most High.
Know everything, because one of the traits of the Most High, he says that he's omniscient, right? Or all-seeing, knowing, right? All-knowing. The Lord knows everything about it, and that's what Esau wants. Esau wants to know how much gas you're using. It is even a condom that measures how many strokes you use, man. Right? This guy wants to know everything about you, like we just read. He wants to be as the Most High.
This is Isaiah 14 and 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? And that's talking about the elites of Esau, man. Okay, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, these international banking families. Now the word Lucifer there means light bearer. Okay, and those are the ones that are bearing the light. Basically, they're the ones at the moment They ain't got the knowledge on the earth. They know that, you know, what's going on. Okay? But Yahushua is the real light. Okay? And through Yahushua, we also are light bearers, man. Okay, on the earth. Now it says, the true light. It says, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the side of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. And that's basically what you're trying to say. You're trying to say that you want to be like the Most High, man. But you know what it says? It says, yet thou shalt be brought down to the hell, to the sides of the pit. And brother was reading Obadiah. If you go further into 18, that's what's going to happen, man. The end for these guys are the pit. Okay?
Yeah.
That's what it is. And they're trying to push. And you know what? One of the big prophecies we're pushing, the mark of the beast, that which is the RFID chip technology being implanted into you. And that's going to be part. So that near field communication, eventually, the RFID, eventually it's going to be part of that whole Internet of Things. Everything's going to be connected, man.
Yeah.
You know?
If I can get as well, since you read that back in Ezekiel 28, it's the 9th chapter, 9th verse, right? It says, his whole chapter is good, man. Verse 9 says, will thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, I am a God? But thou shalt be a man, and no God in the hand of him that slayeth thee. So right now, Esau's moving all proud. He's like, oh, this, that, and the other. Right, but when he's destroyed, man, he's going to remember he's just a man. Right, when he's trying to shoot his shitty Tomahawk missiles at the chariots, or whatever missiles he's trying to shoot at the chariots, or whatever, what have you, he's going to remember in that day that he's just a man.
That's right. This is Psalms chapter 19, verse 1. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. You know, so basically every day, every night. The internet don't shut off. Okay? I could, you know, I think Apostle Hart said this. Well, you know, I can't remember exactly what he said, but in the idea of, we might do this video now, okay, and it's 8:37 p.m. Okay,
BST,
British summertime. Okay, we're gonna upload this video, and then Lord willing, you know, he gets out there, and then there might be a brother over there in America, 5 hours behind or whatever, and he'll watch that at his time. There might be someone over there in Singapore. They might watch it in their time. Maybe they might wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning, flick it on, and they're watching this. Do you know what I mean? So that's what. So, but the truth's getting out there, man. It ain't being withheld. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard, right? Like, for example, one example of that is, like, I do Turkish videos, but I don't go over to Turkey to do that. You know, to try and gather fruit. We just I put out video out there, and, you know, if there's anyone out there that understands Turkish that hearing this word, then they're gonna come in, and we'll get that in Isaiah 11 as well, right? Because there's gonna be the electors scattered all around that are gonna get this, man. This brother does it in Romanian videos, you know. So it's getting out there, man. You know, their line has gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them have he set a tabernacle for the sun. So the truth's getting out around this whole world, man. And it's like, you know, us men are here at Great Millstone. We're not going around the whole world and doing that. Okay, this ain't IUIC. We don't have to go over to. The apostles and elders never had to come over to England to set up the camp that we have over here, man. We got to set up through the Spirit, through our captains and elders, man. You know, and they heard the word. They saw the apostles online, and they heard this word, and that's how it was. Okay, before the internet, before YouTube like that, the apostles were out on the street, and the elders were out on the street for time. You know what I mean? Where was the fruit? You know,
if Apostle Tahar's been in there for like 30 plus years, and they've only been on YouTube like 10, 11 years. That means they're all out there, you know, for 19 plus years before.
That's right. And you see these old videos. Like of, you know, the apostles and the elders when they were young men, you know, out on the streets.
Yeah, without a lick of grey.
Without a lick of grey. You saw, you know, King Marshall, High Priest Ariah, you know, Elder Abba Bivens, you know, Elder Yaquab, you know, High Priest Yaquab. You saw all that, man, you know, and we see that because those videos have been uploaded to the net and have been shown to us by our apostles and elders, you know. So everything's out on the net now, man. You know, that knowledge is being increased, like the brother was bringing out. And you got Isaiah 11.
So Isaiah 11:11. Right, it says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand the second time to recover the remnant of the people which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea.
Yeah, so pretty much everywhere.
Everywhere. Man, hey, that's Bob was going into, man. Hey, look, no one's got money to be going in all around these places, man.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it ain't, you know, everything, hey, you know, just going, hey, England, for example, man. Right, just going up to Scotland's gonna cost you like what, £90 return. That's one individual. You know, if you're taking a train or whatever. Right, going to all of these different places is expensive, man. Right, but the Lord made a medium. Hey, cause hey, we're under the curses. Now we're under the curses. And one of those things is curse shall which will that basket and thy store. Well, one of the other one is about he that earneth wages. Haggai 1:6. He that earneth wages, as if it's put in a bag full of holes. Right. So some of the curses are we gonna be broke. We gonna be through. Mm-hmm. Right. So how then are we gonna be through, and then be able to then go to all of these different countries? You know, jet setting. You know, hey, it's not like the ancient world where you know you can just go into a town and the man will, hey man, hey you ain't going anywhere to stay with me. Well, you read that in Judges the 19th chapter. You know the girl was like, look man, hey, you ain't going anywhere, hey, stay with me.
Or a man might be a shipmaster.
Yeah.
But you know, you pay him a bit of money to,
exactly.
Whatever, you know. But now you need, you know, passports. Why? Because we're captives. Yeah,
captives. Right, yeah. So we won't be able to go into all of these places. Some of these places you go there, Esau's rich is why is he going to Egypt though? Hey,
some of these places you won't be able to get a visa for or certain things, you know.
Why is he going to Turkey? Why is he going to Syria? You see what I'm saying? You go to Syria. If you're English, if you're for Western world, you go to Syria. You're being flagged up on what do you call it on them databases, being like, why are you going there? I'm not saying we ain't flagged up already, right? But you know, you go to Syria immediately. You know, is he going to train with ISIS? All of that bullshit, right? So some of these places we physically cannot go to, right? But the Lord created the internet.
That's right.
Right.
And you know the thing about the internet as well is one thing I'll say. It's like research, like. You know, you don't have to go. Apostles are bringing it out. You don't have to go down to the library and read books like you had to. You just have to go on the internet, Google search, and it'll come up. Yeah. You want to travel and see something in the world. Go on Google Maps, type in the Amazon jungle. It'll have a picture of somewhere in the Amazon jungle. Yeah, or even that flipping what do you call it? What was Street View, man? Yeah. Hey, man, you can go to. I remember they did one, Abbey Road Studios. Right. Right. I ain't musically talented enough to go to Abbey Road. Right, but they made it whereby I can, take a virtual tour of Abbey Road Studios. Yeah. Right, anywhere in the world that's of interest, there is a way for you to go and view it on the net, man. That's right. Right? This is verse 12. It says, and he shall set up an ensign for the nations and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Right? So, hey, you're going to have Israelites being gathered from all corners of the earth, man. Brother, brother was showing us, you have brothers out there that are waking up in Romania, man. You know, and you got to understand how you see, because, hey, all they may see is, you know, hey, man, fuck these so-called white people, fuck these so, and then they're thinking to themselves, well, I'm so-called white, which basically shows you that this is the truth, because they got over that hurdle. Right, it wasn't for them. It wasn't a thing of, oh, I'm white. Oh, okay, so this isn't for me then. Right, the Spirit, the Lord was on them to keep watching, and then to then see, okay, right. So there's two types of white people, right? So you got the Edomites, and you got the Israelite foreigners, right? And I must be an Israelite foreigner. Oh yeah, well they said talking about the Romanian brothers. Yeah, you were saying that they were saying that they watched other camps, other groups, Israelite groups, and then they saw. You know, Great Millstone. Yeah. So that means that, you know, they were really seeking for the truth. Yeah. They didn't just see it and then stop. Like, that's a good point. You know? Yeah, that's heavy because, the sheep will hit the Yahushai's voice, man. You know? And they'll follow the Lamb whatsoever he goeth. Yeah. Yeah, so, hey, it's a beautiful time, man. It's a beautiful time because, hey, we'll be honest, man. When we see brothers waking up in obscure parts of the world, we're like, right, you're like, bro, it's oh shit. But it's prophecy. Yeah, it's prophecy being fulfilled, man.
Right, and hey, they said their plan is to get some understanding, go out there and teach, right? And then you end up having fruit over there, Lord's will. And you got all the other guys, going out and teaching in different places and areas, right? Then they'll go out and have fruit, right? Then you have, what do you call it? Then you have people going, this black Hebrew Israelite thing is weird because I was just down the road and there was some Filipinos and they were teaching. Like, you have Edomites who travel from London, go, yeah, I'm just going to, Bangladesh. Then they'll be in Bangladesh. And I'm like, aren't you them guys like from Oxford Sex? Like, what's going on? Right, and then the whole narrative of quote unquote black Hebrew Israelite, that's destroyed because they're seeing all these people in all these different nations. And you have people, I have traveled to the States. Oh, are you like them guys on, 34th Avenue?
Yeah.
All of these things, because this word is being preached around the world.
And they see us with our beards, they see us with our garments.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, because we're Israel.
Yeah.
We're Israelites. So then you're going to be able to see an Israelite. In ancient days, you'd know, like, you'd see it, That's it, man.
Yeah, man.
For real. Can't.
Yeah.
We want any.
Yeah, no.
Alright, can't. So, hey,
Yeah, dude. I guess to the next time, man. Yeah, Lord's will you were edified, man. And, hey, shalom.
Shalom.